All right. Welcome to another episode of Guarantee News. Of course, my name is Garrett. As usual, if you're watching for a second minute, the entire video, you could be watching anything in the world and you're watching Guarantee News. I appreciate that. So this video, we're going to be talking Russia, Putin, Ukraine, Zelensky, Trump. Can he get a ceasefire? Last week, it's currently August 12th when I'm filming this. I'm going to be dropping it tomorrow, August 13th. So I guess Wednesday, a week, if you're watching this on August 13th when it comes out, a week ago on Wednesday, Trump's envoy, Steve Witkoff, this is this guy right here, him and the president of Russia, Putin, had talks about potentially doing a ceasefire to end the war in Ukraine, and this is what this episode is going to be about. And then on Friday, this upcoming Friday, because of those talks, everything that we've kind of talked about on this channel, there is going to be a meeting between President Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin in Alaska. They're going to be together in the same room together, talking for the first time in like 6 years, and it's going to be Putin's first time on American soil in like almost a decade or something like that, right? So first, I'm going to just get straight into my take with this, because you're like, Gary, why the hell do we care about what's going on with Russia? My take on this is strictly just a grading of Trump, his presidency, and one of the major things he ran on. He said, if I was the president of the United States, this war would have never happened. A lot of wars would have never happened. And B, on my first day, I'll be able to end this war. And Trump has made a lot of announcements saying that he's ended a lot of wars. I think he said, let me go to the right thing. My bad, you guys. He said he's ended like 6 wars. We're going to do an episode on that, looking, has Trump ended 6 wars in 6 months, or is he exaggerating? He's exaggerating, but that's not the point in this video. Subscribe to GS Studios to get that video and turn the post notifications on to see that as well. But let's get to the point of this video. So the meetings happened last week on this talk between Trump's envoy, Steve Witkoff, and Putin. And then on Wednesday, this is Wednesday, then over the weekend, Zelensky and European officials talked about what Putin said. We're going to start this, for the purposes of this video in the middle of this NBC News article. The headline on this is why Europe is so worried about Ukraine being excluded for Trump-Putin talks, specifically the Trump-Putin talks on this Friday, but Trump-Putin talks on a ceasefire in general. But let's get to the beginning of where we want to get to. And let's see. Here we go. Okay. So, and this is Trump outlined the potential terms of a deal on Friday. There will be some swapping of territories to the betterment of both, Trump said, only to be swiftly rejected by Zelensky hours later. Ukrainians will not gift their land to the occupier, the Ukrainian leader said. Russia has always outright dismissed the idea. This is the important place right here. Russia has always outright dismissed the idea that Ukraine should be a part of these talks, ceasefire talks. It is also demanding that Ukraine cede control to the eastern region of, I know I'm going to say this wrong, Luhansk, Donetsk, this Z one I know I'm going to say wrong, Kherson, and not just the parts of those territories that Moscow currently occupies and that make up around 20% of Ukraine's total territory. Now we're going to look at a map for a second. Just stay with me, because this is kind of crazy to see. So here's Ukraine, here's Russia, Moscow. Russia is absolutely huge. This war is going on, and keep in mind, this is what Putin said on Wednesday he would be willing to do to put a ceasefire to this war. He's basically saying we would put a ceasefire if Ukraine agrees to let us keep control of the land we already have. What land do they have? They have Donetsk. That's what they want to keep, this one. Donetsky. And Luhansk. Stay with me. I know this is boring. Luhansk. This whole area right here. This is Ukraine. This area right here. Donetsk. This area right here. Zaporizhia, which is right here, this area right here, and Kherson, which is, let me find it. It's like somewhere on this line, like it's all on a line. Let me find it. Kherson. All right, we're not gonna look for too long. We're gonna just search it. I tried to go off memory. Or just look. Kherson, Ukraine, and move that right here. All right, so it's all on this line. We got Kherson right here. The D one I can always find. That was crazy. I know it was. Let me find it when I look at Ukraine. Keep in mind. All right. So he wants basically from here, all the way, all this area down. And he wants this little peninsula area right here. He's saying to America, basically Trump, Steve Witkoff, hey, you give us all this land or you have Ukraine. If Ukraine agreed to give us all this land, which is 20% of Ukraine's territory, you also agreed to say that Ukraine is not going to join NATO, which is basically the world like organization. Everyone knows what NATO is. I'm not going to get into an explanation of it. But Ukraine won't join NATO, and they're basically going to just basically be our little dogs. That's it. All right, let me be real. Not be our little dogs, but give us the land that we've already taken control of, and they're not going to join NATO, and they're going to demilitarize is basically what they're wanting. And Ukraine says, or Putin says, if you do that, we'll do a ceasefire. Steve Witkoff says, okay, they come back. He comes back to America. He telephones this back to Zelensky, Ukraine, and the European officials, and this is where the beginning of this article starts. So we'll go back to here. So Europe is scrambling to stop itself and Ukraine from being frozen out of peace talks between Presidents Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin, fearing they could reshape the military and political future of the continent without them, the continent of Europe. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky himself recounted toward up 15 calls with world leaders and others this weekend, from France and Germany to the managing director of the International Monetary Fund, as news sunk in that there may be no one at the meeting from the country that has been occupied and bombed for more than 3 years. And let me get to the basically saying that they're not going to give any land. That's the part of this you want to read. And let's see. Okay. And keep going. All right. Though Zelensky has noisily rejected that at every turn, them giving up some of their land, that there's going to be a land swapping, but the land swapping really just seems like Ukraine getting to keep the pieces of their land, Kiev, like their capital, or the pieces of the land that Russia hasn't taken over already. Though Zelensky has noisily rejected that at every turn, and what really worries many of his supporters is that Ukraine will be forced to hand over these lands without the appropriate security guarantees from its allies, perhaps in the form of peacekeeper deployments, in the hope of deterring Putin from simply regrouping to launch his next aggression. And let's keep going. Now, this gets into the end of it with J.D. Vance. He's saying we're done funding the Ukraine war business, he said. Americans, I think, are sick of continuing to send their money and tax dollars to this particular conflict. If the Europeans want to set up and buy weapons from American producers, we're okay with that, he added. If you care so much about this conflict, you should be willing to pay a direct and more substantial role. And I will say, and this is one of the things that people were mad at Biden with this, is we're getting all this money to Ukraine when there's so many problems going on with the country. And while I do agree with the notion that maybe we shouldn't be giving all this money to Ukraine, we see what Trump's doing, and none of that money is going to Americans. But I'll give Trump credit here. He's starting the conversations. Trump is in the middle of like a delicate, like phone, like, playing chicken. Like, what do I want to say? He's in the middle, talking between these people. He has to go get the information from here, tell it to them, go get the information from here. And the only thing I'm worried about is if he ends this war and Ukraine is able to keep their land, I think that would be the biggest positive for him. And I would come in here and I would say on my show and say, you know what, this is a big deal. I'm glad that Trump was able to do this. You have to give him credit for this. The same way I did how when he bombed Iran, I said the attack was it was good. It was a good attack. I gave him credit on that, and I'd give him credit on this. But the thing that I'm nervous about and I'm interested to see is how much is Putin just stringing him along, saying, hey, I'll offer these things that I know that Zelensky's never going to say yes to. I know how to talk to Trump. I'm worried about the length of how long it is going to take Trump to get this done. I'm wondering if there is a ceasefire, what are the terms of the ceasefire? And on top of that, I'm wondering if there is a ceasefire, how long does Russia keep it? Because my thing with this is I thought that Trump maybe had a potential to end this war in January, but now as I've watched it more, I have a feeling that Putin seems to have a lot of control of Trump, a lot of control of this situation, and I do think that he's leading Trump along, and I think Trump is okay with it. And I will make an announcement, or I will make a guess, because I'm going to be following this, because Friday they have the meeting in Alaska. I'll probably do a video on Friday. I'll probably do a video on Monday. If a ceasefire doesn't happen, what will it take for Trump to start talking bad openly about Putin for an extended period of time? And if Putin does offer a ceasefire, then and Zelensky doesn't say, I want this, I don't like the ceasefire, this doesn't work, does Trump then start berating and bashing Zelensky like he did in the White House earlier this year? And if that happens, if Putin is able to say some ceasefire that Trump says in his head, this is reasonable, but a lot of people say isn't reasonable, it hurts Europe, it hurts NATO, it hurts Ukraine, I think that could be what Putin wants, and it could be a negative for Trump. And with the Trump administration, I mean, this is a news show. This is a politics show. You might not care about this, but I care about it just for the simple fact of how good is Trump's presidency, and is he following the things that he said he would do? And this is a place for him to have a positive war, ending wars. And if he can't do that, mixed on all the things that he's doing in the country that I think are wrong, that I think a lot of people are wrong, it gets to these fair conversations on how we can rate Trump as a president, how terrible of a president he is, how mediocre of a president he is, or if you're going to say how good of a president he is, what proof are you going to give? And with that, Trump has said multiple times he's ended 6 wars. I'm going to do a video on that. I know I said that already. I had to repeat it because we're going to see, I mean, there's conflicts with India, the Iran, like he's saying he's ending wars when that is debatable. So that is something that we're going to definitely get into. And definitely, if you've watched this video to now and you're not subscribed, you might as well just subscribe, turn on the post notifications to stay updated with this and to stay updated with the things that Trump is doing and the news that you need to know going on in the country and in the world. And of course, the news you want to know. That's Garrett's football show. That's movie reviews. All that is going to be on this YouTube channel. And of course, I'll be streaming live on Twitch most times, Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturday. That's Twitch, GS Studios, GSTEWDIOSS. Thank you for watching this video. Tell me what you think about Trump. Tell me what you think is going to happen on this Friday meeting between Trump and Putin in Alaska. Are they going to do a ceasefire? Is Trump going to come out saying that Zelensky and Putin needs to get this done? Or is he going to come out saying that Putin has been dragging me along? He's been, playing with me, which is what he said already. I know I've had multiple pauses in this video. I apologize. Let me know in the comments what you think. I know the pauses were crazy. You guys have a good rest of your evening, your day, your morning, whenever you're watching this, and be safe.